You're listening to Company Men.
I'm Chuck Tomervik.
I'm Jared Carter.
And we're huge Emeril Lagasse fans.
Just finish. What were you going to say?
If we can kick it up a notch, so can you. Why are you like this?
So that lake's not placid.
No, that's the whole thing.
Is that how the movie starts?
Yeah.
They walk out there like,
it's not placid after all.
They start out by saying, "Wow, this is a placid lake." It's just the first 30 minutes that people are just like so placid.
Watch it not move. See how it didn't ripple.
Ruffles have ripples, but not this lake.
One time they did some ice skating here for the Olympics, and now there's a crocodile. Hey, Jared, you brought me something.
I sure did.
Ooh, what is it?
I brought you the White Russian Imperial Coffee Stout from Sun Up, which is actually, for us, kind of a local brewery. Mm-hmm. They're located in Phoenix. We're in Tucson. But yeah, I brought you this coffee stout.
This is fun. This is a neat little theme. Are you ready what I brought you?
Chuck, you brought me something.
I did. That sounds just like me.
Yeah.
I brought you Old Rasputin, which is a Russian Imperial Stout.
Russian Imperial, wow.
Yours had more words in it, so
mine
yours
has coffee in it.
Clearly better. But mine is named after the scariest man who ever lived. He's there on the bottle, and he's almost as scary as he was in real life.
Yeah.
Rasputin is terrifying, and so is this beer, I think.
Nice.
North Coast Brewing Company, I actually don't know where they're from.
So you're saying that in terms of terrifying men, nobody can trump this guy right here.
Stop.
Do we have to stop?
It's not this podcast. We can keep going, but we'll just remember.
No,
forget we said about Trump. Let's just drink these beers and just go forward into madness. Open it up. Here it goes. That's so good. Yeah, drinking beers and not talking about the president.
I wasn't talking about that. Now we're getting political.
This beer is so dark.
This beer is dark. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm going to pour your White Russian Imperial Coffee Stout.
It's not white.
Yeah, it's called the White Russian Imperial Coffee Stout. That's what it's called. It's not white. It is very dark. It looks like you are pouring coffee. It's a little darker than I was expecting. You can smell it. I don't even have this glass anywhere near my nose right now, and it smells so good. It smells so good. All right, you can make the old tray.
Swap. Here we go. That's for you.
All right.
And I'm going to give this a little
taste.
That does smell so good. You know what? The coffee is like really there on the nose. Like it's really there in the smell. The taste is very balanced. Oh, but it's coming in at the end. It wasn't a lot of coffee at the end. It's that like toasty, malty, yummy.
Yeah.
And then now all the coffee's there on the finish. That's really
So
toasty.
I read up on this beer a little bit. I actually read a review, an article from the Phoenix New Times that came out in 2014. When this beer came out, it was actually really hard to get. They would brew it. They would only sell it at the brewery. It would be gone in a couple days.
Nice.
The only extra ingredient that the brewmaster mentioned being in it, vanilla. He wouldn't tell the rest of his secrets, but there is a little bit of vanilla in there. Can you taste it? Try again.
No. Yeah. No, for sure. I think there is definitely a sweetness to it.
Yeah.
And it's so smooth. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
On that finish, that nice. It's a smooth coffee. It reminds me of like when I'm drinking a cup of espresso after a meal. and you get that really sweet, like just kind of lingering finish. Nice. That's what I'm getting from this.
For those who don't know, Chuck actually does usually brew some espresso right after he cooks food. He's not just saying
that's the way to do it, man.
The way he does it. It's really nice.
Tell me about that beer.
I'm going to try some Rasputin.
Get that Rasputin. And
also very just toasty. That's super good.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this beer on the shelf so many times for years. I've never tried it. Wow. I really like that a lot.
The scary dude on the bottle is just like, he wards you off. Yeah, he's a gnarly... Rasputin is one of my favorite people in history. I had a frog named Rasputin once.
Oh, yeah?
I did. That's a neat story. That's the whole story.
The only thing I know about Rasputin is he had a bat that could talk, and they sang a song about Anastasia.
Right. In that historical documentary that Disney put out.
Yeah. That scene is actually terrifying. My kids just watched that cartoon recently.
It's all
everything it's a
about
very
him.
scary
You can't
movie.
do Rasputin without being super scary. That dude was...
Chuck!
What?
I want to talk about the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
This is better than what I was going to talk about.
No, I want to talk about this because we talk a lot about kitchen nightmares on this show. And all of the episodes we've done, all 4, we've talked about it twice prior to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we co-hosted. This wasn't a you thing. This was an us thing.
It was going to be a really fun party. This is our first party since telling everybody we know about this podcast.
Yeah.
This was a big deal. In fact, I even put, this is the Company Men launch party. Here we go.
You can go to 4th of July festivities, have fun with your family, or you can come to Chuck's house and we're going to have a podcast launch party. And actually quite a large number of people showed up.
Inexplicably, a bunch of people showed up to this thing. And probably a big part of that was the promise of the food I was serving. I got this idea to pay homage to my favorite barbecue folks here in town and do a big old plate of loaded fries.
Yep.
Which, if you're not familiar with this concept, you need to find it as soon as possible. This is where you take them fries and you throw smoky meats on top of it, and then a bunch of chopped up veggies and good stuff on top of that, and then you just slather that sucker with sauce and cheese. And
I've never heard you say sauce before.
Oh, yeah. It's similar to sauce.
Okay. They are the same thing?
Yeah, it's very similar. Almost the same.
Good to know.
And then you just go to town. You just strap that on in a feed bag and you just go crazy. So I was going to do this. We were going to do this together.
I show up at Chuck's house and I'm here to help. Chuck's actually taking care of a lot of the prep for me already. He's cut up the potatoes and he asked me to do something fairly simple. He asked me if I would fry the potatoes. We use the twice fried French frying method.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Which is the technical term.
That's what it's called. Yeah, you fry the French fries and then you fry the French fries again.
You fry them again. And when you do, it creates
nice and crispy.
Yeah,
so tasty.
It really is. If you've never tried it this way, you got it. I'm going to tell you how to do it right now. You cook them 350 degrees in some canola oil, whatever you got, for about 5 to 7 minutes. Take them out, let them sit for a minute, toss them back in the oil at 350 degrees, cook for 2 minutes. It creates the perfect homemade French fry.
And it sounds like, from you describing that, that's really simple and easy. Yeah. That sounds like that's nothing. We're just going to do that and be done.
Oh,
which is what I thought. Which is what I thought going into it.
This
is going to be wonderful. This is going to be neat. Guests are going to love it. They're going to be tasty. They're going to be able to just get a bunch of fries and put a bunch of meat on it.
So instead,
it didn't come out like that.
It takes forever. Once you drop the fries in, even a small amount, into this huge vat of oil, the temperature drops 100 degrees. The oil just instantly drops temperature. Maybe you have a recommendation for how we can keep that temp up. I don't know. Send it our way. But it just took forever.
It took so long.
How long would you say?
The batches of fries you're doing are 8 French fries each time.
Never not that much. Because that was in an attempt to keep the oil up to temperature. How long would you say? 40 minutes per batch?
It wasn't quite that long, but they were small batches. And so everyone shows up, and I've got apps out, appetizers. People are going like crazy on the appetizers. We got like a veggie plate. We got bacon wrapped asparagus. Those go in no time flat, and we're still here in the kitchen working on the the potatoes, working on the French fries.
You've never seen anything like it. There are women and children crying. They're just so
They're lined
hungry.
up outside my kitchen with bowls in their hands like hungry orphans. And just like I don't know where they got it, but they got dirt smeared all over their faces. And
instead of saying, "Please, sir, may I have some more?" They're saying, "Please, sir, may
starving.
I have my first
I've come to your house on promise of delicious food, and here you are providing me nothing." And then we would throw out one batch of fries, which again was like 8 French fries, and one person would get to eat, and then everybody else would just weep and gnash their teeth. It was bad.
On top of the time that it took to cook, I was a fool. I wore a shirt with an undershirt, some jeans. For some reason, your kitchen on this particular 4th of July, which was a very hot day, as it were, it felt like it was 100 degrees in that kitchen alone.
It was probably the gigantic pot of oil that was boiling the entirety of the length of the party.
Right.
It was probably that, and the fact that we were standing immediately over it. It was about 1,000 degrees in that
My
kitchen.
pants, soaked with sweat, felt like I had dipped them in the aforementioned oil and was wearing them now. I would drop the fries, I would walk into another room, and I would just try to cool down, and then I'd come back, and at this point, people are asking me, "Why are you dressed the way you are?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I've never felt comfortable wearing shorts." So I'm wearing these jeans, I'm wearing the shirt, and one of the most embarrassing points in the evening for me, I divulged this to you guys later on in the evening after everybody left, but I went into the bathroom at one point, removed my disgusting sweaty undershirt, folded it up as tightly as I could, and hid it in your linen closet.
And for those of you who are following along at home, this is now at the very end of the evening. Jared tells me that somewhere in my house, he has stashed something for someone to find later.
Yeah.
A ball of his sweat and grease.
Specifically, it was tucked underneath some, what I assume were extra pillows. So should you ever come to Chuck's house to visit, know that there's a chance that you are laying your head down on a pillow which has touched my sweaty shirt. And guess what?
The pillows.
I'm never telling you which one
We're destroying all the pillows. Don't worry, folks. We're destroying every pillow in the house, even the ones that weren't in the cabinet, just to be safe. We're going to just burn them all.
Now, the fries took a long time.
It will still be cooler in that fire than it was in our house while we were cooking these.
This was a trifecta of kitchen failures. We had the fries taking too long. We had the kitchen being so hot. And then the saddest part of the evening. You want to describe that? You forgot something.
I did forget something. And what would be better if you're sitting here and you're hungry and you're hot than a nice, cool, refreshing dessert? Anyone who tells you have to wait until after a meal is done to have dessert should be taken out and removed from your life, because you can serve dessert at any time, except probably the only bad time to serve a dessert.
When everybody's left.
Yeah. Absolute worst time. And this dessert, I was so proud of it. I had this idea to do a red, white, and blue dish, celebrate America's independence in the form of food. And so I'm going to do these wine poached pears, which come out this gorgeous, like ruby red color, and get some sexy little dollops of Cool Whip on there, and then top it off with blueberries. Now, I should have known that this whole thing was doomed from the beginning when I went to the store the night before the party to get ingredients, and they're completely out of blueberries. I apparently wasn't the only one to have this idea, and literally the only blue foods are blueberries, unless you count Jolly Ranchers. So I scrapped the color idea, I swapped in blackberries, and listen, I was so proud of this thing, and I didn't serve it to anyone unless you count Jared, and there's unfortunately video evidence of this.
Our very first live video, Chuck was not excited about this, but you'll actually get a free glimpse of that delicious dessert that you missed out on. At one point, I take a bite of it. I enjoy it.
Boy.
Yeah, and I cover the microphone with my thumb. You can't hear anything. It's just
the
me
worst
in
video
silence.
I think that's ever been produced.
It's so bad.
I'm embarrassed to have it.
Hey, my uncle liked it.
Well, good. I'm so glad. Thanks, Jared's uncle.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah, we're gonna just ride.
My sister
into
liked it.
The sunset off of the power of Jared's family,
well,
liking whatever nonsense he does.
Like Chuck tried to say at the beginning of this, we're moving on now. I want to move past your kitchen failure. It's very
and you know what?
depressing.
It's fine to move past it because we still had a great time. As bad as we make this sound, this was still a really fun. I think it was a fun party. People hung out in this ridiculously hot room.
And let me get preachy because I do this.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we were able to have a get-together
mm-hmm.
in which multiple things went wrong,
mm-hmm.
a party in which I am hiding my clothes in your house,
mm-hmm.
still a good time. We still enjoyed people coming over. We still enjoyed the company. We shared some good beers. We had a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
We had a really great night. Maybe people who left didn't feel that way, but we did, and that's what it's about. Hosting is there's a lot of reward to be had, and we had a lot of reward.
Preach it, my dude.
Tonight we're talking about. Can you give me your best kick it up a notch?
My best. I'm gonna break out the Emerald Lagasse.
I've
been waiting for this moment all my life. We're gonna kick it up a notch.
Kick it up a notch.
Kick it up a notch.
I was more of a Julia Childs fan growing up.
Can you break me off a piece of Julia Childs?
For now, we're going to kick it up a notch. That was not good at all.
It was great.
Julia Childs, if you're listening, why did you die?
Don't listen to us. There's much better stuff to be doing in your afterlife.
In your party, in your get-together, in your dinner party, in your barbecue, just having people over and serving food is good enough, right? But also, it's not hard to, as we mentioned,
kick it up a notch.
Kick it up a notch.
Get a little bit of something that's gonna stick in people's minds. That's gonna make them wow, right? That's gonna make them want to come back again to the next one. Tell other people about it. You can do these little things, and it's gonna go a long way. We want to talk about a couple of these things that we have employed in our own homes, in our own hosting festivities. Jared, tell me about the tech you've got set up in your house. Both of us actually work in the tech industry. We get excited about some of this stuff, and we know not everybody gets down in this, but if you are the kind of person to get excited about cool gadgets and devices and stuff that you can get set up. Jared, I love going over to your house because you've got some really cool tech set up. Tell me about your setup.
Sure, absolutely. Now, I realize this is something, it takes a little bit of time to build up the type of inventory that I have, but I have built up some inventory over time. In my house, almost every light that's connected to a switch, light bulb, is a Zigbee device. A lot of you don't know what that is. A Zigbee device or a Z-Wave device. It's basically home automation. It's this radio frequency that allows my devices to talk to other devices that operate them, cause them to turn on and off. I have a really good time with these. Primarily, the way that I have it set up in my house right now, which I really enjoy, is you can tell my Google Home, which if you don't know what a Google Home is, it's this little pod that has, I don't know how to describe it very well.
It's a speaker and a microphone, right? It's essentially those two things, but then there's the service behind it that will listen to your voice and do magic.
It allows you to talk to Google Assistant.
Yeah.
Which in turn can then control some of these devices in your home. I have smart things set up. I have some Hue lights set up in my house. And so when people are coming over, rather than having to go, I don't know if you're like me, but lighting is really important. I want my home to have this really just warm feel to it. Mm-hmm. So I have it set up where I can tell my Google Home, hey Google, turn on entertainment mode. Yeah. And when I say that, my lights come down to a nice, calm 80%, sometimes 60, depending on if I am
who you're inviting over,
what kind of party we're having. And then I can also tell my Google to start playing music. I usually try to prepare a playlist beforehand that I feel will fit the needs of my guest, which is fun. All of that it adds a notch for me because it gets the house ready. When people are over, I just like to show off this technology. So I'm constantly the whole time, hey, Google, turn on my popcorn machine. Hey, if any of you have a Google Home in your house right now and you're listening to this, I'm sorry. Your phone's just going nuts. Nice. Which just start, okay. Anyway, so I can do that. I like to show off my stuff. Turn on the popcorn machine, turn it off, whatever the case is. Our Google is talking.
Right this is a poor choice. You done set it all up.
Stop it, Google.
Here we go.
So yeah, I just have I have fun showing that stuff off. People really enjoy it. It's almost like doing a magic trick. It's the modern day equivalent of pulling out some cards, which people love at parties when you pull out playing cards and they're like, "Let me show you a magic trick."
That's what I was going to do to kick it up a notch. Just magic. Just do some magic. It's not a problem.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, before I do that, I want to just say, come walk. It makes a big difference even without the flashy show-offy part, because walking into your house when you're in that entertainment mode, it feels like I'm walking into like a classy. Like I feel like the place is lit with like a chandelier or something.
Yes,
that just drops that warm light and the music in the background, which is usually a really chill kind of usually acoustic. It sets the tone when you walk into your house, and I know what to expect from this, and I immediately relax. I love it. I love the what you got going on there with the entertainment mode. I don't get quite as flashy with it. I've recently moved. We're in a new place. I don't have quite as robust a setup in terms of the lighting arrangements.
Yep.
But I do have the Google Home set up, and I do. So you kind of talked about curating a little bit of a playlist and getting that to set things up beforehand. I really enjoy allowing my guests to pick the music. And being able to, like, if you've got a stereo set up and you're just playing whatever, then people have to just listen to whatever it is that you've got playing. But with the Google Home, really the advantage of this is anybody can walk in my house and control the music that's coming out for better or worse. And it can get worse, a lot worse.
Party in the USA, Google.
No, it gets worse than that because I have family who just loves me the mostest, and they know about this relationship I have with the song Sweet Home Alabama. And I have a long history of being trolled by a combination of Pandora and my family, and that is that any station that I have set up on Pandora, my streaming music service, regardless of what station it is, it will invariably, at some point, play Sweet Home Alabama, which is a fine song if you're a sorority girl at a bar, and in no other circumstance. I kid you not, regardless of what Pandora station I am playing, I could set up a classical music station and it will play Vivaldi and Bach and Beethoven and Lynyrd Skynyrd's Sweet Home Alabama without fail. And the reason for that is because my family comes over and every single time they're here, they play the song on the Google Home. And because now we're being watched all the time by these services, then they know what it is that we love. They're convinced that I love me some Sweet Home Alabama. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. While it is a really fun thing for people to come over and be able to play the music, it does kind of ruin my life a little bit on the back end. But
let's talk something low-tech, something that your family would have a hard time ruining. But honestly though, like if I'm at your house and I hear that come on, I find that very endearing. I think that would be a little adorable.
It is fun. It is fun. And people like the song because they don't...
That's awesome.
I don't know. I hate the song for reasons completely aside from its musical merits. But yeah, tell me about your ways to... Not everybody's going to drop the money on home automation setup, but you can still have that wow factor. You can still kick it up a notch.
Yep.
How are you doing that at your parties?
One thing that I've introduced just recently... Mm-hmm. When somebody walks into your home, having the ingredients out for a particular cocktail And as they're walking in, say, hey, can I make you in this case, most recently, can I make you a margarita? I have the limes there. I have the tequila. I have the triple sec. There are no other ingredients besides salt that you need. That is a margarita.
Fine.
All right. People walk in. Can I make you a margarita? Nobody turns you down. You get to slice up some limes. You make it right there in front of them. Everything that's made in front of you tastes better. Tableside guacamole. Anybody, right? People love this kind of thing. Hand them the margarita. If you're going to do this, make sure that you have an appetizer set out. The last thing that you want to do is give people alcohol on an empty stomach.
The last thing?
Because they fall asleep 30 minutes in. They're just tired. They take a nap on your couch.
I'm going to fall asleep at your house anyway.
You are. You fall asleep. I was talking to somebody. I said, Chuck fell asleep at my house. And they're like, oh, you guys had quite the rager. No, this was an after
like
church barbecue, I think, that you came over to and fell asleep in my chair.
I'm tired.
Like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'm tired. I work hard.
I'm not even...
Give this to me.
Right.
So, have a comfortable couch.
So yeah, that's a nice way to welcome them into the home. You give them a tasty treat. They feel comfortable. They munch on some chips and salsa, whatever it is you have set out. Make your people a margarita. Make them a drink. That's just one way that I like to kick it up a notch. It's kind of treating others like you'd like to be treated, and that's something I enjoy doing. What about you?
Dude, that's cool. I think that so much of this comes down to presentation, and presentation doesn't just start during the party. I have taken to building suspense and building excitement beforehand. And so with the example of the 4th of July party, I think part of the reason that people showed up is I was talking to people, and we're going to do these loaded fries, and it's going to be so cool, and this place, and they do the loaded fries, we're going to do it like this. And so just being able to sort of talk up and get people excited about it before they show up will mean that they'll put up with whatever nonsense actually happens there. But it also just means it's going to be a little bit more memorable. And the other way that I'm doing this, that I'm kind of building excitement, this is something I've been doing for the last 6 months or so, is I'm trying to have some signature things that I can get people excited about. For me right now, this is cheesecake. And I have spent, since Christmas last year, I have spent a kind of ridiculous amount of time, honestly, perfecting the cheesecake.
Yeah.
And just sharing these things out to people and getting people excited. And every recipe is a little bit different. We do it up a little bit differently every time. And by the way, my recipe for cheesecake is going to be available on the website. I've been working on this for a long time. And people now, when I mention I'm going to do a cheesecake at this party, they kind of get excited.
I'm getting excited just hearing you talk about it right now. Right? That cheesecake is amazing.
And so being able to have this signature thing, and if you work on it and you do it over and over again and you refine the process and you tweak things and you do it a little bit differently every time so that it builds this kind of allure, maybe a little bit of mystery around it. Ooh, what's the cheesecake going to be this time?
Right.
And maybe I'm just a little too full of myself, but I think people get really excited for this and really excited to come over and be a part of this thing because they know I've poured so much into this one thing and they know it's going to be there. So that's my way to kick it up a notch is just have this signature that I put on
You have
stuff.
this menu item that people just come to expect in your home. That's really nice. I've had this cheesecake. Really enjoy it. Chuck's not exaggerating. Give this cheesecake a try.
Oh no, it really is the best thing ever.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Absolutely.
We have some questions that are coming in on Facebook, and there's some here that I think we want to save for later, but I feel like one of the questions that was just asked actually kind of applies to what we're talking about tonight, a way that you can kick up hosting a notch.
This is great, because I love being surprised by stuff.
Well, here's a surprise question
I don't love it.
that came in 3 minutes later than what I said they could, from Lillian.
All right.
Lillian says, what's the best... Lillian, if you didn't want your last name said... I apologize. We'll bleep it out.
We'll bleep it out. We'll edit it in post. Don't worry about it. Ain't no thing.
What's the best pantry menu or way to comfortably serve a guest when hosting on a moment's notice? So somebody just kind of pops into your... Isn't that a great question? And I think it really fits in here. Somebody just pops into your house. What should you have on standby that you can just feed somebody?
I love this. You can go... So I'm gonna answer the question directly, and I'm going to answer it indirectly with what I would actually do in the scenario. There are certain things that you should have in your pantry, and one of those is spices, right? Mm-hmm. If your spice drawer is well stocked, I kid you not, I have served top ramen to guests that has blown them away. And don't, you take the packet out and you throw it away.
Sure.
And then you do your own thing. You get a little bit of, if you've got some chicken in the fridge, you can chop that up, throw that in there. Even if you don't, right? If you get into that spice drawer and you know your way around it and you just do this on your own. This is, honest to goodness, the way I learned to cook was making top ramen for myself day after day, and I just couldn't eat it the same way. And so I just started getting into my mom's spice drawer and just trying out different combinations of spices, and you will blow people's minds serving them top ramen. It's the easiest way to do this. What about you? What do you got?
I'm sitting here thinking of one of my absolute favorite appetizers. It actually comes from my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, Sherry, one of my favorite people on planet Earth, she makes this delicious, she cans fruits. Mm-hmm. And different things.
Nice.
And so she makes these pepper, jellies that she'll then give to us that we can hold on to forever. So we always have, she's so good about just keeping a constant supply of this coming into the home. So we have these just sitting everywhere. So there's always one in the pantry. And so she has this, if you have cream cheese, and in our house we usually have cream cheese and we have Ritz crackers, one of the best things you can do is take some, and they sell, you don't have to go to Sherry's house. You can if you want. She would love to have you. She'll make you lunch on the spot every time. But you can go to your local grocery market, pick up a pepper jelly from the jelly section, mm-hmm. just have one of those on standby, some cream cheese if you have that available, put that on a plate, the cream cheese, pour the jelly over the top, put a little knife on that plate with a side of Ritz crackers.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I cannot overstate how delicious this is. If you put it out, it's gone in moments every time.
I have a mother-in-law who does the same thing, who's sending us the pepper jelly, and we do the exact same thing.
That's awesome.
It's the exact and it is. It really is the best possible appetizer. Yeah, I love it.
That's great.
For you, Lillian, for anyone else who's here in the Southwest, this is what you should do in this circumstance, though. For realsies. I'm telling you, find your nearest carniceria, your nearest little Mexican butcher shop, and make friends, and just know the quickest route to get over there and back, because this is the easiest and the cheapest way to get some food on a plate for some guests in no time flat.
Okay, if we're going this route, and it honestly just sounds like you're trying to one-up me. So let me bring this back. Lillian, let's say you live in the Southwest and you want to provide a Southwestern treat that's going to blow your guest away. Have you tried barrel cactus fruit?
What?
Simply go outside and pick this delicious fruit straight from the barrel, take it inside, cut it open, remove the black seeds, toast them in the oven for a good 40 to 45 minutes. Pull out some flour, make some bread, use the toasted cactus flower seeds to then adorn your bread.
Yeah, we get it. You're really cool. You do the neat stuff. This doesn't answer the question.
The bread is made from the mesquite beans that you found outside that you have now ground into flour, which you're using to prepare this awesome Southwestern.
This does not.
And you tell your friends when they come over, you say, "Come outside with me, and we shall make delicious Southwestern
for dinner." I'm so glad you showed up. I've just gotten my basket ready. Let's go foraging.
Barbecue a rattlesnake. All right, let's stop.
No. Yeah, I'm serious about this. If you do live somewhere where this is doable, and I don't know how far this reaches across the country, but these guys have already prepared and marinated the meat, and they've got it ready for you to go and pick up for nothing. Right? Sure. It's so cheap to just go in there and get some skirt steak and get some chicken and just come back and throw that on your grill for 4 minutes.
It doesn't take any time.
Yeah.
But you know what's even cheaper? barrel cactus fruit, which is free, and it's in your front yard. So just pick it. Don't waste it.
No. Putting my fist down.
Play the music.
Here we go.
We don't have real paid advertisements at this point, so for the sake of bringing a small sense of legitimacy to this whole enterprise, Company Men is brought to you by the following. We've all experienced it at one point or another. The pain, the embarrassment, the undeserved shame that occurs on a tremendously public level. I'm speaking, of course, about elderly relatives' Facebook comments. Listen, we love our grandmas, our grandpas, our aunts and uncles. On some level, we even love our mother's ambiguously pervy first cousin twice removed, who we've never met and who lives in another state. But despite that familial love, there comes a point when we have to say it, enough is enough. When your grandmother tells you that her friend Carol passed away in the comments section of your 5-year-old's kindergarten graduation pictures. When your great aunt comments, "Have you seen my reading glasses?" on a picture you shared 7 years ago. How did she even find this picture? When your grandfather writes "hi" on your wall. That's it. Just hi. Well, prepare to suffer no longer thanks to Fanbook. It's simple. Just send your elderly loved ones one of our beautifully tasteless pre-written emails that looks like it's already been forwarded a minimum of 9 times. With the subject line, "Facebook has been taken over by ISIS." In the email, you'll provide them to a link to the safe Facebook page, which will deliver them safely to Fanbook. Fanbook looks and feels like the real thing, and loved ones will never know the difference. Can they still comment something completely unrelated to the content of your original post? Sure, but only they will be able to see it. What about those ridiculously fake politically charged photos and videos they like to share? They're still there, but even better, your elderly relative and only your elderly relative will now be able to see you and everyone they know commenting in total agreement with whatever crazy thing they just shared. Talk about brownie points! I know what you're thinking, but social media is how Aunt Faye stays in touch with family and friends. Won't they be worried if she suddenly disappears from the internet? No worries. That's where our family fill-ins come in handy. While your family member goes hog wild on Fanbook, our family fill-in comments, shares, and posts in the place of your loved one, but is limited to posting things that are only mildly out of touch and oh so slightly off-putting. No one will suspect a thing, and you're only going to be just a little embarrassed, not mortified beyond belief. Fanbook. For friends, for family, who are so far gone. Just do it.
This is so good. I want you to read everything to me like that.
Chuck has an opinion on everything. Literally everything.
We'll see.
I am yet to bring up a topic of which Chuck does not have some really just emotion-driven, fact-forgetting, just...
This is not fair.
...opinion on everything. And so I want to ask you tonight, Chuck, what is your opinion on the fact that everyone has a podcast? Should everyone be podcasting? Should we be podcasting? Is this a thing that just needs to go away because everyone's doing it? Yeah. What do you think?
All right. Okay. Yeah. It goes beyond podcasts for me. I do have actually really strong opinions on this. You might be surprised to find out.
Be careful where you go with this because we may quit tonight, depending on what you say.
I do. There are so many things that I love and so many things that I don't love about this, about what I would call the democratization of media, of everyone now having the means and the ability to get their voices and faces out there into the world. And there are things about this that are so wonderful. It's so great. We find things that we never would have found before. So many people like us have the opportunity to break out and to just wow people. And it is also so dangerous. Honestly, it's not the media part of things that I worry about. I worry about this even in my own life and in your life and the lives of everyone who is sort of living in this world. There is so much emphasis now on being able to be able to speak and to be able to present. It's like everything that we do now is always on stage and always presented in front of people, because we're now always connected in Facebook and other social media. Like, we're always presenting the most beautiful and the most wonderful part of ourselves. And this is part of why I like our podcast. I've been adamant that we can't present just the rosy, nice picture of what we do.
Right.
We have to present the visceral and disgusting and ugly parts of who we are and what we do and why this is still good. And I think that it's such a wonderful thing to be able to get that voice out there, but it's so dangerous. It's like so many things. It's like everything that we've ever invented that has just as many drawbacks as it does benefits to society, to people at large. It's great that everyone can get their voice out there. It's dangerous that everyone thinks it's worth getting their voice out there about everything.
Chuck, for once, I actually believe that you had an opinion about this.
I did.
Before I brought it up just now.
I feel very strongly about this.
I'm actually liking where you're going because I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I want to toss a comment out there and I want your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to say, I'm not saying I agree with this or don't agree with this, but you tell me what you think. When everyone is an authority on everything, nobody is an authority on anything. Thoughts?
I don't know about that. I like people feeling strongly about stuff. I do like people being able to take a stand on something, even if they don't fully understand it, as long as they're willing to be able to listen to the other side of things.
Sure.
I think that we warp the idea of an authority. Like, I know all there is to know about this thing, and there's no other things to know. And that's just wrong about everything. We don't know, if there's anything that I know, it's that we don't know anything. We don't know a darn thing about anything. Like the ancient Greeks had everything figured out. They had the world and the universe buttoned up and figured out, and then they were wrong about everything.
I'm feeling convicted just listening to you talk, so I want to say something now for everybody to hear. We could be wrong about everything that we're saying.
We are.
We feel confident that the things that we're saying will help you, but at the end of the day, we could be the worst possible. We're not.
But in that environment,
Sure.
Why not take a stand and feel strongly and then listen actively
to what other
to
people
the
have to say.
opposition? If you feel like the things we're saying are as dumb as could be, then tell us. I want to listen to that. I want to hear that. And I want to argue that. And I want to feel strongly about that. And be able to change my opinions. I get a lot of flack. I do have these strong opinions about stuff, and I get a lot of flack in my life about, well, you said this 2 years ago. And yeah, I did. And then I feel differently now because I was wrong before and I thought about it.
Your opinion changed.
Yeah,
Chuck,
it's going to happen.
Have you had an opinion about this before tonight?
I have always felt strongly about this. You know that.
This quote that I shared earlier, adapted from the movie The Incredibles.
I love that movie.
It's such a good movie.
That's such a good movie.
When everyone's a superhero, I think. I can't remember.
I don't either.
It's a good movie. All right. So cool. What do we do next?
We're at my favorite part.
Oh,
It's time, y'all.
All right.
It's time, y'all. Jared has pigeonholed himself in this position where he gets to break down everything that has happened on this podcast. He gets to break it down for y'all who ain't got time to sit and listen to 45 to 60 minutes of us ramble in. He gets to break it down here. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Who's got time for this nonsense? Yep. So I'm so glad you tuned in to the end here to listen to Jared break it down and give us that too long, didn't listen, rap.
And Chuck gives me a lot of credit for this thing, but without his amazing... Somebody the other day asked me, Chuck, for real, they didn't just ask me, they had assumed that we had a beatboxing sound that we were playing every time that I would rap.
Oh, no.
This is absolutely 100% Chuck beatboxing.
I've been preparing for this moment my entire life. Yeah.
It's not a joke. I'll record it someday. All right, Chuck, give it to me. We started out with some Imperial Stout. We had some fries, we couldn't figure them out. We tried to cook them all day. That's about how long it took. How long do you think that it should take a fry to cook? We talked about providing snacks for friends who show up in a moment's notice, including some cactus fruit, some carne asada, but mostly cactus fruit. We talked about Google Home and said, this is what you do to impress your friends. We talked about Fanbook. We talked about Facebook. We actually talked about social media and podcasting and all of that quite a bit tonight, which was really fun because these are things that I enjoy
we're experts on this.
Talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I guess sums up what we're doing tonight.
We got to find a better way to end this.
We don't end it comfortably. If anybody, listen, half of the people who are listening to this podcast can tell you something. This is something deeply personal about myself. That I will be talking to you in a public place, and rather than saying goodbye, I will just turn around and walk away.
Yeah.
Completely. Disregard. It's just like, you finish your sentence,
That's because you're
turn around. No, it's because I'm awkward. It's because I'm awkward. I'm the most awkward person you've ever met. Anyways, time to close this thing out.
I'll wrap it up by saying we're so thankful for y'all for listening. Get out there, get on Facebook and on Twitter and follow us there and share it out to people. We want to keep doing this. We want to get the word out there. And so we're so excited. And even if it's just like the four of you and Keith, thank you.
Thanks, Keith.
That's great too. But we'd love to get this out there. So like on Facebook and share whatever it is, retweet on Twitter.
Go on iTunes.
Whatever Instagram does, I don't know. I still don't know.
People say this all the time. Can't tell you how important it is. Go to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and review. If you do 2 of those things, you are no friend of ours.
You have to do all 3.
You gotta do all 3.
You have to do all 3?
All right. Are you done closing this out? Because I want to get to our closing statement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our motto, our whatever.
Yeah, it's what we say.
It's what we say every week. It's what we say every week. If you're going to sit on a couch,
get there first or else you'll regret it.
I regret this.
I'm Chuck Tomervik.
I'm Jared Carter, and this was something.
We'll never talk to you again. I'm sorry.